What should you be looking for when you go for a driver custom fit? Now, the main thing we should be looking for when we're going for a fitting with our driver is how does the new driver compare to your existing driver? Ultimately, we want to make the driver go better than what's already in your golf bag. So you might get some warm-up shots with the driver that's in your golf bag already, and then you'll get a grouping of where that's going, how far it's going, and ultimately distance and direction are the two main things we really need to consider. You can go deeper into the data if you really want to, but you don't need to. If I hit the driver that's already in my golf bag and it goes a certain distance and it goes in a certain direction, and actually that's quite a functional shot, I need that ball to go further up than it already is. If I have a driver that sneaks out to the left or sneaks out to the right, I want the new driver to do that better than what's already in there. Now, if you have that same problem through every club in your golf bag, then ultimately it could be technique that's contributing to that. And if you get the club to correct it, then it won't necessarily help you through every club in the golf bag. So for every 5 fittings that I do, I'll probably only sell a new club to 2 of those 5 golfers that come in to see me. That's because a new club will go better than what their existing club does. It could be that the club's really old, it could be that the club's the wrong loft and the wrong shaft for that golfer, and I need to get the new club to match their current swing. I do have to consider how their swing might progress or regress. If it's a junior that's going to get stronger and faster, I need something they're not going to grow out of too quickly. And if it's a senior that's maybe getting a bit slower, I might want a club that they're not going to grow out of too quickly as well the other way. I want to make sure they're going to be able to use it for as long as possible, nice and efficiently. Now, the slower the swing speed, the higher I need the ball to launch. So we're looking for certain launch characteristics that will help the ball go as far as it possibly can. On the slower end of the spectrum for swing speed, I really want the ball to launch at like 19, 20 degrees in terms of launch angle. So if you're in a facility like this where you can see what the launch angle is on the screen, the higher the better when we're at the bottom end of the swing speed spectrum. So I'm generally looking for quite high launch on the golf ball for most amateur golfers at club level. I really want to push you to like get more towards that 19-degree launch. If you use a more lofted driver, that could potentially get the launch you're after, but it could also increase the spin. If the ball spins too much, it's going to spin, climb up, resist, and not go as forward. If it's spinning less, it will cut through the air and go further. I'm normally looking for about 1800 to 2200 spin for most golfers. So if you're launching the ball nice and high and you're getting 3500 spin, then we're not getting the most out of it again. So it could be the shaft, it could be the loft that brings that spin back down. The ideal scenario is to use the lowest loft you possibly can and you get the highest launch you possibly can to get that ball to launch up, spin less, and dip down that little bit more. Most golfers that I see here for a fitting spin the ball a bit too much, and it's normally from how you present yourself through the ball. And that's where the 3 people out of 5 that don't buy a new driver, it's because I need their technique to get in the right space before I can then get a driver to get more out of it. Because if they get their technique right with a 10.5-degree regular, they might get through it and actually find that they're a bit faster than they think. Then I need a stiffer shaft to keep up with their new speed, and I need a different loft to manage their new launch. The best scenario you can be in for a fitting is to be hitting the ball too high, because it's much easier to get the club to bring all that flight down. Now, when you look at tour players, they don't really want to launch it at 20 degrees because they're going to hit the wind more and it's going to move it more when it's a windy day. They're looking to launch it around about 12 degrees or so because they've got that extra excessive speed compared to the amateur golfer. So between 12 to 20 degrees across the whole spectrum of golfers, it just depends where you are in that spectrum and where you are in your current launch angle. Now, you can use things like tee height to manipulate how high or low you launch the ball. If you tee it lower, you're generally going to launch it quite low. If you tee it higher, you've got more room to get the ball airborne. And I have had fittings where we actually stay with the current driver that's in the bag, but all we do is we change the technique a little bit to get into the launch windows that I'm looking for. Now, one thing you really want to do in this scenario with a driver fitting is hit your driver, get the fitter to give you some new drivers to compare it to, and then hit your driver again at the end, just to make sure that you're not more warmed up at the end and hitting that driver that's in your hands better because you're nice and fast. Check that it is the club that's giving you the extra distance, the extra accuracy, not just your warmed up swing. So sometimes we go higher tee, which gives me more room to get up on the ball to launch it a bit higher, hopefully not hook it. If I have a session where someone gains 3 yards Do you want to spend £500 on a new driver for 3 yards? Do you see that value in a new purchase? If you pick up 5, 10, 15, 20 yards or more, then you're looking at more value for that purchase because that club is matching your current swing and you're getting more out of it. Now, quite often, if you start with a 10.5 degree regular driver and you hit the newer technology, the newer models in a 10.5 degree regular, you won't often find a massive difference. The reason that you might find a difference is because that 10.5 degree regular shaft, for example, is the wrong loft and the wrong shaft for you as an individual golfer. And then you try a different loft. It could be that you need 9 degrees. It could be that you need 12 degrees. And that just so happens to launch the ball that much better for you than what you had before. That's the scenario where the new driver is matching your current swing dynamics through the ball and you're getting more out of it. So again, make sure you're getting more performance, because if you're not getting more performance, it's just reassuring that your driver is working nicely. And if your driver is working nicely and you're in a buying mood, where else in your golf bag could you get some benefits? Where else in your golf bag could you get lower scores from? Have a little think about that. Enjoy your fitting, see what comes out of it. And do not be scared to say, I'm not buying today because you haven't found me more distance. But is there any other weaknesses in your golf bag that you could maybe look at?